Okie dokie. Hi, readers. I have a question for you guys as we are getting started. Hi, virtual readers. Welcome to our Readers Workshop. Did you guys know? Did you guys know that there are people whose job is to research things in this world? Did you know that? They're called researchers. Have you ever heard of that word before? Yeah. And they study lots of different things. Did you know that there are some people who are researchers of kids?
No.
Yeah. There are some people whose job it is to research and study kids. Isn't that crazy?
Why would it?
Yeah, because there's lots of things to learn about people. There's lots of things to learn about students and kids. And sometimes people do research maybe so that they can find new ways for teachers to teach. Or maybe they can find new ways to maybe help kids who might be struggling with something. Or there's lots of different reasons that there might be researchers who are studying kiddos. But I want you guys to think about something. I want you to think that there might be a researcher that is coming to our room. Okay? What if somebody was coming, Christian, what if somebody was coming to study you? I want you to think about that for a second. What do you think that they would learn from you? What do you think they would learn from you if somebody studied you? I'm sure you have lots of ideas. Put your hands down for a sec. I want you to just imagine that right now. And I want you to think about if you think they would learn more from just watching you sit somewhere, maybe watching you sit and read, maybe watching you sit and work on your work at your table. Or do you think they would learn more from you if they watched you talk with your book reading buddy, your reading partner? Do you think they would learn more from you if you were playing on the playground with your classmates? Do you think they would learn more from you during our brain breaks when we are hanging out with our friends for a few minutes?
Yes.
Virtual friends at home, do you think that if somebody came to study you in your home, that they would learn more from you if you were just sitting on the couch and doing your schoolwork, or sitting at the dining table and doing your schoolwork? Or do you think they would learn more from you from playing with your siblings or interacting maybe with an adult? I want you guys to think about that, because that's kind of a lot like what we have been doing with our series books, right? It gives me some ideas for what we've been doing with our characters, because I agree. I think that they would learn a lot more from you guys watching you, guys, I'm up here, watching you interact with other people than just sitting by yourself, right? Like if somebody came over, let's imagine that this is like a notebook, and I'm going to take some notes on Araya, and she's just sitting there. What would I write down? I wouldn't have anything to write. I'd say, sitting so quietly with book. And then I'd say, because she's doing a great job, but that doesn't really teach me anything. But if I saw maybe how she was interacting with Riley during recess, I could say, oh my goodness, she is a good friend. Oh my goodness, she loves to laugh. I'd have so many more things to write. Do you agree?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So today I want to teach you that to have deep ideas about a character, it helps to study that character's relationships with others. I actually have our anchor chart right here. And this is what it says. It says, notice what a character's relationships show. So we're going to talk about this today. And I want you to think, what is that character's relationship like? And how does that character act in one relationship versus in another? How does your characters react and act around other characters versus another kind of character, okay? So this makes me think about one of our favorite books. Actually, speaking of our Magic Treehouse book that we just read, I have here our Viking ships at sunrise, because I was thinking that there are a couple of different kinds of characters in this book. So obviously we have Jack and Annie, right? So just in this book alone, I'm going to move you guys back, virtual friends, so you can see our board. Give me 1 second. There you go. Oh, sorry, love. Okay. So just like we could notice like Jack and Annie's relationship, right? So I have Jack and Annie. We could study their relationship. Who else is in this book? Who else is in this book? Riley?
Morgan.
Yeah, Morgan. So maybe we could study like the relationship that, I'm going to say J and A. J and A plus Morgan maybe. You think?
Morgan Maffeo.
Who else is in this book? Who else is in this book? Mila?
The Vikings.
The Vikings are in this book, but do they ever really say anything or interact with the characters? Not really, so that would be kind of a tough one to research. Marwan?
Brother Michael.
Ooh, close. Brother. Oh, there is a brother Michael, but does he say a lot?
No.
Who would be the better one to study? Do you remember the name of the other monk?
No. Brother Mike?
Brother.
Patrick.
Yeah, so brother Patrick plus J and A. Okay, so I have here, I sticky noted a few areas for us so that we can go back and look. But friends, when you get your own book, Harley, close your book. Close your book. When you get your own book, you're not going to just go back to the beginning and reread the whole thing to try to do this research, because that would probably take a long time. We know that good readers reread our books, but when you're trying to do some specific research, friends, you just want to skim through the book and look for a good spot to do your research. Kind of like if a researcher came into our room, they would want to wait for a good spot when you're interacting with others, right? Quinn, sit up. Mila, you guys, hey. Sit like second graders. This is big stuff. Thank you. Just like when our research would come in, they wouldn't just like look for Araya sitting on the carpet, right? They'd wait for Araya to be interacting with others. So we want to pick up a part in our book where our characters are interacting. Does that make sense? Nod your head if you're with me. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do is I want to pick a spot where some interesting things are happening. So I have some sticky notes up here that I went ahead and found some of these interactions between characters. So this first one, they're interacting with who? Morgan. Yeah, so I just want you to listen while I read this interaction between Jack and Annie and Morgan, and then we'll talk about it, okay? So it says, she was sitting in the corner. At her feet were the scroll they'd brought back from Roman times and the bamboo book from ancient China. I'm so glad to see you, said Jack. Me too, said Annie. It's good that you both came early, said Morgan. She reached into the folds of her robe and pulled out a piece of paper. Here's the ancient story you must find today, she said. Morgan handed the paper to Jack. On it were the words Serpens Magna. The mysterious writing reminded Jack of the writing from their trip to the Roman town of Pompeii. That looks like Latin, he said. Very good, said Morgan. It is Latin. Okay, I'm going to pause there for a second. So now let's think deeper. Let's do this work of noticing some things that are interesting about their interaction. This is a pretty quick one, so you'd have to look carefully. But there's a couple of things that I noticed. I'm going to reread the part that stuck out to me. Okay, so they see Morgan sitting in there. Do you remember what Jack said? What does Jack say when they walk in and see Morgan? What did he say? I'll read it. He said, I'm so glad to see you. I'm not going to write anything down yet. I just want us to think about that as I turn and read about their interaction with Brother Patrick. Okay? I want you to think about maybe how this interaction between the characters is a little different. Friends, I need your eyes up on me. This is not about you. So I need your eyes up on me. Okay? Okay, listen as I read this interaction between these two characters, okay? So, we found our story, said Jack. Yay, said Annie. Indeed, said Brother Patrick. But alas, Brother Michael has not yet completed his work. You will have to return for it. Aw, man, said Annie. Jack was disappointed too. I don't know if we'll be able to come back, he said. I don't know if I can even leave without the story, said Annie. Brother Patrick looked puzzled. The two kids looked at each other, then looked back at Brother Patrick. It was too hard to explain about the treehouse and how the magic worked. Jack shrugged. We'll just have to try, he said. Outside, the church bell began ringing. It is now time for our sunrise prayers, said Brother Patrick. Will you join us? Thanks, but we better try to go home now, said Jack. So what's different between their relationship with Morgan and their relationship with Brother Patrick? What do you notice is different? Let's do some deeper thinking about this. Camden?
The difference is that they don't know how to explain the tree house.
Yeah.
But with Morgan, they do.
Yeah, so they kind of have I'm going to say with Morgan, they kind of have like an understanding, right? An understanding. They're pretty familiar, would you say?
They know how to explain about the tree house and know what it is. And
Yeah. Would you say that Morgan and Jack and Annie are friends?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that. I'd say they're friends. Hassan?
So I think when Brother Patrick was puzzled up, he didn't know about it, so they thought they couldn't tell him.
Yeah. What kind of words do you think we could put to kind of describe their relationship with Brother Patrick?
Maybe he doesn't know where the treehouse is.
Yeah, so we could say like, kind of, they're like new friends, right?
He doesn't really understand.
Yeah, he doesn't really understand, or maybe like, they don't have history. Like, how they have a lot of history with Morgan, right?
Also, they don't see Morgan a lot of days, but they only saw him like once.
Yeah, they've only seen him like one time. So they're like new friends. They're kind of unfamiliar with him. I'm going to write the word formal. Formal. Because I want you to think about like, if a researcher came to observe you, friends, eyes up on me, eyes up on me. Do you think that how you interact with each other versus how you interact with Mrs. Johnson might be different? Do you think he might take some different notes, like if he was recording how you interacted with each other on the playground, and then maybe he saw how you interacted with Mrs. Johnson in the hallway? Do you think his notes would be a little different? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too. Or even how you interact with me versus how you interact with each other. Chris?
This is actually see Morgan's brother's hat.
Yeah. So now we're going to look at one more spot, friends. And this time, who do you think we're going to look at?
Jack and Annie.
Yeah, now let's look at Jack and Annie's relationship with each other. And I want you to think if you can come up with some differences between these two interactions and Jack and Annie, okay? Turn those listening ears on. Let me see them. Okay. So this is when they were on the Viking ship. This is a really good spot to stop and observe because they're definitely making some good observations here. We could definitely make some good observations here. Okay. He pulled out their research book. He found a picture of the Viking ship. He read out loud. I'm not going to read all of this. Great, said Annie, jumping up. This isn't our darkest hour. Why do you say that? Asked Jack. There's still hope, said Annie. We can row to the other side of the island and find the tree house. Are you nuts? Said Jack. Please, Jack, said Annie. Can we just try? She grabbed one of the oars. She could barely lift it. Forget it, Annie, said Jack. It takes 4 big Viking guys to row this little thing. You're too late and you're too little and I'm too little. Come on, Jack. Just try, said Annie. You get an oar too. We'll sit on boxes across from each other. Oh, brother, said Jack. Annie dragged her long oar over to a storage box. I'm not doing this alone, she said. Jack groaned. Then he dragged an oar to the box across from Annie. Okay, what did we notice about that interaction that's a little different from how they interact with Morgan and Patrick? Are they even more familiar with each other? Yeah, they're siblings, right? So they bicker with each other, right? They kind of like argue sometimes. Do Jack and Annie always agree? No. Maybe from this we learn that Jack's a little bit stubborn, kind of, right? Or Annie, you could say, is a little bit
braver.
Brave, but also maybe a little bit bossy, you think? Yeah. Hassan?
I think Jack is kind of like a coward.
You think? A little bit? In just a sec. Yeah, just a little bit, I think. What else do you learn from Jack and Annie? My friends that haven't shared yet, what else could you learn from Jack and Annie from this? Alyssa?
That sometimes they brave and sometimes they're scared.
Yeah, sometimes they're brave and sometimes they're scared. I think they encourage each other. Do you think?
Yeah.
They encourage one another. A sibling relationship is definitely going to be very unique. Think about how you interact if you have a sibling or if you have like a very best friend. Think about how you interact with that person. You guys sit up versus how you interact with others. It's different, right? Okay. So today I want you to try this. First thing you're going to do is you're going to put on your research hat. So imagine you have this big fabulous hat. Put it on. You're going to put on your research hat. You're going to find a spot and you're going to reread one of your research or one of your series books, okay? So if you've already read it, that's okay. You're going to reread it. But today, friends, you're going to be thinking about how that character interacts with other characters. And then what I want you to do is I want you to jot it down, okay? So that when you meet with your book club later on, you can share, okay? We're not going to meet with them today, but you can just take it and put it in your book, just like Miss Coleman. Okay, are we ready to try this?
Yeah.
Okie dokie, virtual friends, make sure you are doing this important work along with us, and let's get to it. Go ahead, Araya. Bye, friends.